I want to talk about my new book, The Political Aesthetics of ISIS and Italian Futurism. It's about futurism, you know, it's the movement founded by Marinetti in the early 1900s. It is known for its display of technology, its belief in modernity, and a certain progressive lifestyle. Very important is the aesthetization of violence. They had connections with fascism, now these connections are very complex. But in these paintings you see airplanes, you see the representation of speed. They found the line of force and different techniques to represent movement. Now, what does this have to do with ISIS? Well, I see also a presentation of technology, an emphasis on modernity, which is surprising for a rather conservative movement. What is remarkable is also this ambition that terrorists all of a sudden have to become aesthetic. If you compare here the nosedive by Crowley with the opening scene of The Clanging of Swords 4, you see a clear resemblance. They work on the images and sometimes it becomes really futurist. If you compare that with Bin Laden, the old Bin Laden videos, Al-Qaeda videos, they're very simplistic, a bit naive. They just had a message, but they didn't care about how the message was transmitted. ISIS has a completely different aesthetic approach. There's a play with light and geometrical figures. Of course, all this is very much influenced by the video game aesthetics. I believe that this futurist aesthetics of terrorism began in 2001 with the Twin Towers. Of course, it was Al-Qaeda who did it, but it was the first time that a terrorist attack could be seen as an aesthetic event. Look at the orange fireball and compare it with Rousselot's explosion, which he calls elasticity. If we look at Al-Qaeda propaganda, we can say that there is a shift from symbolism to futurism, exactly like what happened in the late 19th century in painting and in literature. There are also neoliberal advertisement campaigns that you didn't have before. The shift is amazing if you compare this with the graphics of Hezbollah, which looks more like something coming from socialist countries. Interestingly, the anti-terrorist campaigns in the West have reverted to an aesthetics that looks much like Russian political propaganda from the time of the revolution. Very important for me is the opposition of futurism to cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is a concept, it's an aesthetic concept, it's a civilizational concept, a philosophical concept. It's pessimistic, it signifies the exhaustion of capitalism, whereas here in futurism and also in this what I call Islamic futurism we have big optimism, maybe an artificial optimism. I also examine this. It all boils down to saying that this new terrorist idealism that we have is a reaction to the crisis of liberalism, and this is exactly what happened at the time of the futurists. The result is a more positivistic ideology that tries to bring back reality that has been lost in virtual reality in cyberpunk, that tries to bring back the machine, the mechanic, also the body, the gender distinction, and finally it reinvents space. And I establish all this by looking at other details. There's a whole chapter on the links between futurism and fascism, and in which way fascism can be called progressive. And there's a chapter on Islam that also tries to answer this question: is there something like progressive conservatism? What is modern Islam? I hope this inspired you to order the book. It's available on the 1st of January 2019. Thank you.